What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Commish Show. This one's a little bit late, but we're going to do the Week 7 review. I'm here with Sean.
What's up, guys?
He used to be on the show back in the day. We both originally started it, but, nice to have him back. And last year, came in second in the league.
Yeah.
You lost to Andrew, who's the other out-of-towner. We got him in the back today, back producing for us.
Running the cameras.
Yep. So, what were your thoughts on last year? Because I haven't really spoken to you about it, really.
It was a pretty good season. I think we had an interesting group of people in there. The dynamics, for a 10-person league, I thought it was actually pretty competitive. A lot of the games were very close, so I was hoping to see that carry over into our 12-man league this year. It basically says anything can happen. Andrew did not have that great of a record, but made it in the playoffs and ended up winning the whole thing. So really, it's as long as we can keep it close and keep things competitive, it's really anyone's game.
Yeah, and last year we didn't really have any poor teams, if I don't remember. Cody started 0-5, but he came with like a 6 or 7 game winning streak and made the playoffs.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, everyone was pretty close throughout the whole season in terms of record by the time playoffs kicked around. So that made it good. All the games were pretty much competitive, and that means everyone's drafting pretty smart and makes it a lot more fun. Keeps everyone into it.
Definitely. So what do you think about this year so far?
So far, I think it's definitely been a pretty fun season. There's been a lot of interesting stuff. We've got way more trades being offered than I've ever seen in my entire life in fantasy football, courtesy of one individual particularly. I think the divisions, I think it's pretty interesting that one division's got very close records, and then the other one has got like 1 or 2 guys that are up at the top, and then everyone's like, bottom barrel.
Yeah, definitely.
So, if the playoffs were to start today, the West, I believe that's the division I'm in, we would have 5 out of the 6 guys make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, I think that kind of is interesting how the people are split between the two divisions.
Yeah, it was just a random split.
Right, yeah. You can't predict that, but other than that, I think it's been pretty good. I think there's been good banter between people and their teams. I think it's been pretty competitive. You're going to have some top guys. You're going to have some bottom guys when you have a 12-man league. Not everyone's going to be as, because it comes down to drafting. There's less guys to spread the wealth. So,
of course, yeah.
But it's been pretty good. I think this has been a very good 12-man league. So,
good. Yeah, it's been fun so far and competitive and definitely a little different than other leagues, especially with all the trades going on. But, it's very rare that someone drafts a backup quarterback and a wide receiver that's retired in any draft. So
I was blown away by some of the draft choices by some of the people. Some panned out, some have definitely not. Those would be a couple that don't pan out.
There were some rumors about Anquan Bolden potentially coming back. Yeah. Don't know if that's true or not.
He's still been talking about it, but I don't think it's actually going to happen. So,
I think he was dropped by now. So, all right. So let's hop into Week 7.
Okay.
But this is a week later, of course. I was in Florida, some stuff.
Yeah, we had some scheduling conflicts.
Tuna had to play some video games,
Run the double special here, so.
All right, so the first game is Mannion against Andrew.
Okay.
Mannion picking up his second win in a row without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And second of the season.
Yeah.
He won by 10.5. Pretty good game for Mannion.
Mannion's team is better than his record displays. He's just been kind of unlucky with some of the matchups he's had to go with. And obviously now with some injuries and some changes there, it's made it a little bit challenging for him. But he's got 2 wins now. I think he's definitely capable of getting more. He's got some solid people. He's definitely not going to be one of those guys that's going to put points up on you in terms of that. He'll be that grinder that can win some close games as long as his guys can produce and stay close. But on the flip side, Andrew's team, he's got some guys that are good, but most of his team, personally, no bueno. They're just not performing, and it's unfortunate for some of the injury situations and things like that.
Definitely.
Ty Montgomery, I don't think is going to really do much for now till the rest of the year.
Yeah.
AP had one flash of lightning in the bottle. I think that's done. And other than that, I think Delaney Walker's hurt, if I'm not mistaken. So, some of the guys that have been good for him, are having some issues right now. So I think he's kind of hitting the struggle bus right here, and we'll see if he can ride this into the playoffs or not. So
yeah, we'll see. He has no depth. I think this was his first game with Tom Brady, which
Good trade, by the way. Like I'll give him that.
Carson Palmer also got hurt this week.
I know, so that was
week.
clutch for him to kind of make that adjustment. And,
definitely a little bit lucky there.
Yeah.
But hopefully Andrew can turn around a little bit. He's definitely on the outside looking in. I think he's only one game back of a playoff spot, so we'll see what happens.
Like I said, in your guys' division, it's it's really open up for anyone to kind of make a move there. So
yeah, and we'll move on to the next one. And Frank giving Rick an absolute beatdown, 160.7, which I think that's the highest points scored this season so far.
Yeah, it's right up there.
Rick with 88.8, and not much to talk about for Rick. He lost again this week. I think he was still undefeated or defeated at this point.
Yeah.
And Frank's team, I mean, Zeke now gone, but just 160 is a crazy amount.
Yeah, he's Frank's got a team that's definitely capable of putting up a lot of points frequently, and obviously has done so throughout the year. He's definitely probably, if not the highest scoring team, but consistently up there. He's got a very solid team. Obviously, the Elliott ruling here is going to hurt him, which I think a lot of the other teams in the league, including myself, are kind of psyched about. That kind of makes him a little bit more mortal. He's got a lot of good players, and for some reason, it's just I feel like a lot of the times the guys that you might be on edge that you might think, hey, not awesome, not great, but they end up having like a good game that week. It's always when it's going against you. So he's got a very good team. He's definitely one of the squads that I think drafted very well. He's very well rounded, and I think he's definitely looking to make some noise in the playoffs here. So we'll see how he can carry some of that out.
I think Frank could go very deep depending on his depth at the running back position without Zeke, of course. I think it'll definitely be interesting. I know I play him this week, which is week 9. Definitely a little scared, but we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah, and on Rick's team, I feel bad for Rick because I know he's got some guys that can make points and make some plays on his roster. I think Breeze is definitely always year in, year out one of the top fantasy quarterbacks, and you can really rely on him. DeMarco Murray runs the ball very well. Fitzgerald is ageless. I think he's still capable of putting up very good games. But the rest of his roster, is sometimes questionable. In terms of productivity on a week-to-week basis, it's kind of hard to know what you're going to get there.
Definitely.
So, and it didn't help that he had Lamar Miller on bye that week as well, which probably could have helped him in the running back spot or even in the flex.
53 points.
Yeah. So, hopefully he can pull out some wins. I know that's probably coming soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
If I'm looking at this correctly, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. We got Alton hopping to the playoffs against Auto Draft Mike, who still no one knows where he is, what he's up to, but he is changing his lineup. He did win this game, 96 to 77.
Yeah,
and Tuna. He did well. He had Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins on bye. His kicker got him -1 point, which hurts. His running backs combined for like 7 points. So definitely unlucky for Tuna. But I think he's the last one in the playoffs right now. So.
Yeah, if the playoffs were to start today, Tuna, obviously through 8 weeks of game, would be the 8th seed, I believe. If you look at some of his players, you would have thought, hey, Tuna had a shot. Alex Smith had a great game. Jordan Howard, not as sharp as you'd want. Kelsey had a good game. Brandon Cooks had a good game. I mean, if he had gotten a little production out of, Marshawn instead of first quarter ejection, there could have been some changes there. I mean, Tuna's actually got a solid roster. He's got a lot of quarterbacks capable of putting up points, which I think could hurt and help him. Obviously,
tough to pick which one.
Right, exactly. So sometimes it kind of eats up a spot, or it kind of makes you second guess yourself. He's got decent running backs. He's got decent wide receivers. No one's gonna stand out as top dog or anything, but he's definitely got guys that are capable of putting up consistent points on their teams, and it's just unlucky that he sometimes will have a great game, and then some of his guys just aren't producing. So.
Yeah, definitely. We'll move on to the next one. We got Armand against Tim Barry. And Armand took this one. Tim Barry held under 100. Armand, just another win for him. I think he's up there tied for the best record in the league right now, 137.8. That's a great number. I mean, his team is deep.
Yeah. Yeah, Armand's one of the other guys on this in our league that has drafted well, has got solid players, and they produce on a consistent basis. After this week, I believe he was ranked as the top team.
I think so, yeah.
He's put up decent points. He scores points. So it's always going to be a tough matchup there. Tim, I think Tim's also one of the guys that kind of gets unlucky. He's got some solid players. In going into any matchup, you could think he's definitely capable of winning with the roster that he's got. It just really depends on some of those variables there to help him really, which I don't think has led him to be as consistent as possible.
Yeah, and, Decker with 0, Vinatieri with 0, that's always going to hurt you. Mm-hmm. Other than that, the team performed pretty well. Amendola didn't have a great game, but you can't really complain with everything other. He had 2 goose eggs on the team.
Right, yeah. And you can't, you look at that game with Decker, you're probably thinking, oh, they're going up against Cleveland. He's going to at least get some points. You're thinking points are coming, and that's probably why that move's made. Unlucky, though, right?
Yeah, definitely, very. Move to the next one. We got RJ and Logan. Logan loses again. This was, I think, his third or fourth in a row.
I believe.
He started 3-0, and then from there, it's just been downhill for him. But,
this was definitely a matchup that I was looking at, as I think most of the league was looking at, just for the sheer banter that these two have between each other within the group chat and everything like that. Personally, I'm glad RJ won because I really did not want to see a full roster release that was disclaimered. That was something I don't think is ever good for the league. So I'm really glad RJ got the win, and I know he wanted it. This was something kind of personal for him.
Yeah, I want to see if Logan would win just to see if he would actually go through.
Right, and then there's the flip side. Yeah, absolutely. But this is a good matchup. And these two guys, they both, I like what they bring to the league.
Yeah.
There's a lot of banter. There's a lot of back and forth, but they're very active in it. And so these matchups are always good to see how people react and how they go against each other. And they're both fighting for playoff spots. You know,
definitely.
Both guys still have a shot. I think Logan, if this playoffs were to start now, is sitting on the outside.
Yep.
And I think Arj would be in.
Yeah.
So.
I think Carson Palmer, he stays healthy this game. I think Logan wins.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can't predict first quarter broken arm. So, I mean, you would definitely have thought Carson Palmer, if worst comes to worst, at least 10 points.
Yeah.
No, 10 points gives him the dub.
But it was a good game. Very close one. Definitely unlucky for Logan. Ertz is just a beast.
Yeah.
And then this came down to Chris Thompson against Jordan Reed in that Monday night game.
Yeah.
And I think Reed got a late touchdown to win.
And I don't think a lot of people have probably had that faith. I mean, Reed's a solid player, but he hasn't really put up the numbers this year. Goes out and has himself a game. So, and to much of the chagrin, Arj gets the dub from it. So.
Definitely saved some tears, I think he did.
And some maybe broken phones or devices.
Yeah. And then we'll move on to the next game. It was me versus you.
So pissed about this.
This one went all the way to the Sunday night game. I had Coleman. I think he needed 1.4 points, and he got 1.6.
Yeah.
So I beat you by 0.2. Another. Yeah. This might be the closest one. I think there was one other one decided by 0.2 points.
Yeah, this was, I think, the closest game in the league to date by 0.2. My other loss was to auto draft, which I'm also still angry about that one too, which was a 1-point loss. So, and honestly, I thought you might have run away with this early, and then my afternoon games went off and had themselves a day. But you obviously had solid production all over the boat. I mean, this is a high-scoring game regardless.
Yeah.
I just needed Tevin Coleman to not do what he did, and then I'm all right. But, it is what it is. So.
Yeah,
you got the dub, but I think that tied the records and stuff like that. So I think it was you, Armand, myself.
I think we're all 6-2 or whatever we are. But it shouldn't have been as close as it was. You really only had 3 guys that really did anything. Yeah. Your kicker had 14, which is something that's been happening to me lately. I've had kickers have 10 or more 3 or 4 straight weeks.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah, I made some last-second adjustments, and I was actually going to make some changes, but didn't get to them in time. in making some changes to my flex position, which, you make that change and it could be a different outcome. But it is what it is. And I love that it was close, though, because it always makes it exciting.
Yeah,
it keeps you watching the games.
Always, I know we were talking through that Sunday night game, and I wasn't as nervous as I should have been, because I was assuming he would get more than 14 total yards.
I'm actually surprised they didn't use Coleman as much in that game, because that's the type of team they were going up against in New England. They could have used him in that pass, out of the backfield, third down relief and stuff like that. I'm surprised he didn't get as many plays, which was glad for, because I did not want you winning this game. I'm lucky that he only put up 16 yards and a total of 1.6 points, but it was definitely interesting for sure. So
yeah, cool. All right, so that's it for this week. We're gonna stop this video. We're gonna edit it and everything, and then we'll be back. We're gonna do another one right after this.
Back to back, boys.
Yeah, so we're not gonna change clothes or anything, obviously, because we're just gonna pause it and then start up a new one. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.